Now, I am very excited for our guest today. We have a very special guest coming on the podcast. He is a pro boxer, a former UBO world champion. Please welcome everybody, Matty Floyd. Matt, how
All right,
you
brother.
doing, buddy? So it's Matty the Jedi Floyd.
Yeah, man. Matty Floyd, Matty the Jedi Floyd.
Awesome. And so you're coming all the way to us from Perth, Australia.
Yeah.
Dude, that's great, man. How so let's start early in your life. So you got your boxing, but dude, you have a very interesting life in general just to start. You came up in foster care, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I was in and out of foster care and I live with different homes as well.
What was it like? What do you think that does? Do you think that helped lead you to becoming a fighter?
Um, yeah, people ask me the question. I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a bunch of everything for me. Like a lot of bunch of stuff happened for me to be, and I think you're also born that way as well a bit, but I think a bunch of stuff happens and yeah, I'm not really sure of the answer, but I believe everything happens like the way it's supposed to. So,
Yeah. And then with foster care, what is there anything in foster care that comes along that you think helps make you a better fighter? Like, I guess just the struggle. Like, I guess as a child, you don't know. Like, how did you end up in foster care, if you don't mind?
so my mum was like, she wanted to look after me and that, like she loved me and stuff, but she was like pretty sick. She had her own stuff going on, so I lived with her sometimes, but she just couldn't look after me. She was always in and out of hospital, so that's sort of how it happened. At first, I was like with like like one of her ex-boyfriends, and I was with like different like friends of the family and things like that at first, but then eventually you end up in foster care. The foster system here, there isn't like homes. I don't know how it is there. I was actually speaking to people in England about this. There's not like a place you can go, like a haven here. Like everything is done through the police, so they do it through like it's like a system. So there's not like, say you run away from foster care, for example, you can't just go to like there's not a place where they've got like, beds there and people there looking after you or anything like that. They haven't got
Right.
that sort of system here like they've got in England. So yeah, it's sort of like a lot of stuff has to happen for that to happen. Funny enough, yeah. So yeah, but.
Awesome. And then, was it in Perth that did you grow up in Perth as well?
Yeah, I also during these times of living in different places, I went to Adelaide. So Adelaide is in Australia, but it's like a 3 hour flight from
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everything's a flight. So everything West Australia is like, like it's a 3 hour flight to Indonesia from West Australia. Then you got Adelaide, which is 3 hours, and everything else is about 5 or 6 hours flight. So everything's real far from West Australia's real isolated. So I went to Adelaide for a bit because my nana was there.
Yeah.
And I stayed with her for a bit in Adelaide as well. So, but I mainly grew up in West Australia, but yeah.
Yeah, I've spent quite a bit of time in Australia. Did 3 tours there because you guys have a great comedy festival circuit, like with the Fringe festivals. So
Oh yeah, yeah, the Fringe. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you've got like the Perth Fringe, and then you have the Adelaide Fringe, and then the Melbourne Comedy Festival or Melbourne Comedy Festival. You guys don't say Melbourne, it's Melbourne.
Melbourne, yeah, Melbourne. I've been to the Fringe in it's in Northbridge.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen it, yeah.
I've been
It's
there
probably
quite a
on around now, isn't it? It's around, oh, I don't know when it is. It's around,
January. It starts in
oh, is it
January.
January? Yeah,
So
it comes up soon, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I did that for 3 years. I did 3 years of the Fringe there. I actually ended up meeting a lovely lady from Perth, and we dated for about a year and a half. So I'm very familiar with Perth.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Whereabouts did you stay when you
When I was there, so the first year I stayed, it just right off of the Swan River. So it's like they're kind of in the CBD, I guess you call it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like there south, and then where did the next few years? I'm trying to think, because I stayed in a different place every year. But yeah, it was mostly like all in the CBD, basically around there.
Yeah.
And then I would go and check out, is it Kings Park? Is that
Yeah,
right?
Kings Park. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Kings
right next
Park.
to
And then
yeah.
you
Have you
got
been to
like,
Fremantle?
pardon?
Did you go to Fremantle?
Yeah, to Frio. Yeah, I went down to
Yeah,
Frio. Yeah, it was
yeah.
great, dude. Went there and Scarborough Beach. Is that right?
Harbour Beach, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was the first time I'd never seen water like that. Like I'd never seen just beautiful white sandy beach. I'm from Canada. So our beaches are covered in rock and seaweed and rubble.
You need to
And
go to the beaches like in Margaret River and Dunsborough and all that, like down south.
yeah, no, I don't know if I went to any of those. I went the furthest south I went in WA is Albany.
Yeah, Albany, yeah.
So I hung out down there for a little while. I was there because that's where she lived. Like originally she was from Albany but moved to Perth.
Yeah, the beaches down there are a lot even more wider, the sand, and at night time you can see every star and all that. Like, yeah, like it's
Yeah,
crazy the beaches, yeah.
I know, dude. I miss it. I miss Australia. I was going every year, and then these last few years I've had to stay in Canada just for work. That I'm missing out on a lot of work. Like wintertime is our best time for comedy here
Yeah.
because we have a like it's winter. So when it's winter, no one wants to be outside. They need to be inside. So that's when everyone's like, we need to go to events. So we go to like comedy shows and that is where our summertime is like nobody wants to go to shows. They're like, dude, we're going to the lake, we're going camping. So you have to be by me leaving every winter to come to Australia because that's your summer. Like our winter and summer swap, right?
Yeah, it's summer right now. It's like I've been in England most of the year. It's pretty much winter there the whole time. And and then I was
Yeah.
in Asia all of last year. So yeah, it went from humid to winter all year. Now I came back for summer, so that's good.
Yeah, it's a good time to be back, man. That's very good. So
Yeah.
with your very interesting story how you got into fighting too. So how did you learn how to fight?
Man, I always growing up the way I did, like you were saying earlier, like I grew up, um, some places were good, bro, some places were bad, as you can imagine. And then as a teenager, I had like, some bad stuff happen to me as a kid. And as a teenager, like I was a very scared little kid, man. I was scared of everything, man. Scared of the dark, scared, I had a lot of bad stuff happen. So, um, yeah, I was just a real scared kid. And then around high school, I sort of created this boy that wasn't scared of anything or anyone anymore. I'd fight anyone. I'd join gangs. And yeah, so I started fighting all the time, just would fight. It went from being like wouldn't fight anything to would fight everything and anyone. And then I had it was hard for me. I've got bad ADHD. I was pretty undisciplined growing up the way I did. So I tried going to gyms to fight and things like that, but it was very hard for me to stick it out with anyone. So I'd go from like gym to gym and things like that. Eventually, obviously, I went to prison. I spent most of my 20s in prison, and I mainly, met picking up things from gym to gym. Obviously, like there's been trainers along the way I've met and I've asked for things and taken some things in, but I mainly trained myself, in a prison cell and I'd spar everyone in the prison. And then, I'll try and get, spar three or four big boys at a time and things I teach myself in the prison cell, I'd sort of,
What's that
you
like
know,
trying to line up a fight in a prison? You're like, hey, let's
do
just have
it.
a friendly spar here.
I had like, I didn't really have too many, you don't really. It was mainly I ended up introducing the boxing program into the prison. I ran the gym. So I
Okay.
was the main work in the gym and eventually I kept writing letters and eventually I got boxing to the prison. I was the first person ever to get boxing to in the prison system in WA. And then yeah, and then the gloves that we had were like it was pretty much bare knuckle because they were very cheap gloves and they would all rip open after, using them a few times.
Right.
So by the time you were sparring with them, they were pretty much opened up anyway. But you weren't allowed to spar in the prison. You would have to do it like without anyone finding out. But a lot of the screws were pretty cool. Like they sort of turn a blind eye to it as long as it wasn't
What
malicious,
what do you call them? Screws?
Screws, yeah.
And what's a
Any
screw like a guard?
a security guard,
That's so
prison
funny.
officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would like sort of do it in like little rooms, like little square boxes, sometimes in like 40-degree heat, and it would get real hot, and I would spar, I was getting better and better in there, so I would try and spar three or four people at a time. And I guess I got I built a lot more of my toughness up in there maybe. And then yeah, and then I've just evolved from that since as soon as I got released, I haven't looked back. I've just been training all day, every day, and
That's
sparring
crazy.
absolutely everyone. I've been traveling the world sparring anyone and everyone. And yeah, and pretty much I might yeah.
What do you think boxing, like when you introduce boxing into a prison, does that change the dynamic of the prison? Like, do a lot of people who were like acting really like the tough guys, does that really get them to chill
Nah.
out? And
The opposite, man. Mo Most times people do all that stuff is all about ego, and it's mainly, around girls and things like that, isn't it? And there's not really that issue in prison. There's no girls in there, and so 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 the ego thing sort of drops a lot.
Right,
And the people that usually box in, like 90% of the issues in prison are drugs and smoking and that. And most of them people aren't down at the gym anyway.
right.
There wasn't really that issue. And yeah, like I was pretty aware of all that stuff anyway. I run the thing, I don't want to lose it. So everyone knew that, like it's sort of no one wanted to get taken away. No one wanted to lose their gloves and be able to hit the bags and things like that. So everyone was pretty good. And if one of the boys did do something or the fight happened, the other boys would sort of protect it from getting found out because no one wanted to lose it, or one of them would calm one of them down or whatever, etc. So it was pretty good. Like no one wanted to lose it. They said the
Right.
stats. Like I remember the superintendent, the boss of the prison, because I was a peer support, like a counselor, as well as level one worker in the gym.
Yeah,
So that's how I was able to also get the boxing because I'd write letters because I was the head. So I was a support worker. So all the prisoners would come to me and write letters to me and things like that and ask for what the prison needed and things like that. So every time we'd have a meeting, I think once a month or whatever, I'd always hammer the boxing, and luckily we had a good superintendent at the time who he loved his boxing. He's from England and he loved his boxing. He believed in having recreation for the prisoners and for the rehab and stuff like that. So actually, they were saying the stats were amazing. Like apparently, the prison was doing the best it had ever done, and as in like it was the least fights we had had, and it
right.
was doing really well. So, I mean, we had it running for all the years I was there, and when I left, apparently it was running for a couple of years after until ultimately, yeah, I've heard it's been shut down now. I heard that a few years back now, but it lasted a long time, and apparently it did really good,
Yeah.
had good
Oh,
results. I've had people get out of the prison who have jumped straight into boxing because of it, and it's changed, a few people's lives. I obviously I've got a gym in Fremantle, like near Fremantle. I've
yeah.
had it for about 8 years now, and we take a lot of teenagers off the street. But some boys get out of prison, obviously they need a new place or a new home, and we've helped out a few boys that have come from the prison that I met through the boxing stuff and all that. So I've tried to use it to change people, people, especially the teenagers. Teenagers are a lot easier than adults, obviously. Like I think teenagers have like a 50-50 chance of changing their lives before they cross over to becoming a crim in adult. I think the crims that go to prison, I think they've got a very small, maybe 1% chance, of them changing their lives around. But yeah.
Be able to rehab it. And you think that's just due to not being as malleable? Like as you get older, you're kind of more set in your ways, or
I think when you're an adult and you cross over, I call it crossing over to that path. I think it's very hard to come back. I think from what I've seen, they're all, people that go to prison, they go again and again, and it's very rare that you see a person turn their life around or change it. It's very hard. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe I think it's just once they cross over, like it's hard to come back, isn't it? I think a teenager hasn't really crossed over, even though they might have gone to jail or, they're still a young, like a immature mind and they haven't fully crossed over. So I feel like they've got, a 50-50 chance if they just get that guidance. That's how I look at it because I think about myself, hence why I do what I do, why I try and get them at teenagers before they cross over.
yeah. When you meet a young teenager in that position, what is the first thing you start with? Like what do you gotta teach them first?
The first thing I do is I believe I try and do the tough love sort of thing, I guess. Like depending on their situation, like depending on how bad, obviously everyone's different, depending on how bad they are. But say there's Because I've got a youth program. There might be 50 of them in front of me or however many in front of me. If they've got a bunch of them in front of me, I'll give them the same speech at the stuff. And I always say at the start, because a lot of their dads are in prison and things like that, and I say, there's nothing your fathers or yous haven't seen or been through that I haven't. So I don't want to hear your sob story sort of thing. What I'm here for is, I don't like looking at the past because how I help myself is I try to ignore like anything that's happened in the past, and I believe in having goals, which mine is, to become the best in the world at what I do. So I believe in having a goal and doing everything every day to reach that goal, always thinking about that goal, things that can help that goal. And since I've been doing this, it's really helped me a lot to the point where I'm able to talk about it all now, which obviously I have been over the last year in podcasts and that. Podcast is almost like counseling for me. Because I don't like to spend when I'm not doing the podcast, because the podcast is also helping my career. I don't like talking about this. I don't like going to, I don't believe in all that stuff. I believe in having these goals. Talking about it with like say your friends and family, yeah, that's fine. But I think too much hours spending on it is hours you could be training, for example, or reaching your goal. So I tell these kids like I don't want to hear your sob stories pretty much. I don't want to like there's nothing you can tell me that's gonna make me, think, whatever, because I've seen it all, been through it all. So I'm here to reach your goals. You tell me what your goals is, find a goal, and that's what we're here for. Hopefully it's fighting because that's where what I'm doing, so I could probably be better at helping you with that. But some of them end up playing AFL. Some of the boys we've taken in played
Footy.
AFL, which you know what it is. For people that don't know, obviously it's the most highest up sport we've got in Australia that people watch. Maybe that or over in Queensland and is it Queensland and maybe Sydney, it's rugby, but the rest of Australia, AFL is the biggest sport, especially in West Australia where I'm from. So yeah, so it could be that, like hopefully it's something to do with sport because that's probably the only way I can really help and things like that. Other stuff I'm obviously not great at myself. So, but if I can, I'll link them up with someone that can help them with that. If they want to be an accountant or something, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, our job's just yeah, that's my view. That's what's helped me. I don't um I don't like think like I try all the stuff that happened as a kid and things like that. I just ignore it all. A lot of people say putting it in the back here, whatever. I don't believe in that. I think that you can just keep ignoring things and keep reaching your goals until the day you die. And then, because once I reach my goal, I'm going to have a new goal. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep moving forward and be as present as we can.
Yeah, I think that's always the move, right? You just want to always be the climbing the mountain, never get to the top and start descending. With so you mentioned earlier not about I agree with you on like with therapy and stuff. I did quite a bit of therapy, but one thing I found eventually when you get into it is it does turn into a bit of rumination. Like you're saying, like you're just mulling over this thing over and over, and you're like, all right, like I'm done talking about it. Like I just need to move forward and start taking action, like you're saying, towards my future goals. When someone
We're such creatures of habit.
yeah. So, but when someone has damaged their self-respect by something they've done in the past, and you've hurt yourself, I mean, let yourself down basically, what do you think is the path forward to rebuilding that self-respect?
Once again, like same thing, reaching your goals. I mean, how better than like say like say like I become a champion in what I'm doing. I mean, how better can I get that back than from doing that, or at least trying to trying to better myself because whatever your goal is, usually it's obviously making yourself better.
Hmm.
So you can't get better than from that. Like if I feel like I've done something bad in the past. I've done things already, like like obviously I don't know what if you know what I went to prison for. I spent most of my adult life in prison from kidnapping pedophiles, and um I feel like like I'm not claiming I was a saint. Obviously, I did bad things as well growing up. I also was the leader of a gang, so I was doing I never claimed that I was just a saint, just kidnapping pedophiles. I know I was doing the wrong things, but I do believe that I've never hurt anyone innocent in my life and I know that I never would or could. And I believe that anything bad I did, I always try to make up for. I try to justify it, by like with I spent I spent a lot more time kidnapping pedophiles than I did do bad stuff, for example, when I had a lot of power at that time. Um, and even growing up, for example, like in high school, I would steal, lollies and chocolates and stuff from the shops. And to start my whatever business I was doing at the time, would have been buying and selling games eventually back then. But the money that I made at the start, say I stole $400 or $500 worth of candy and stuff like that, or whatever it was, and sold it. As soon as I built my bank and made the money, I remember that I went back and obviously I wouldn't hand 400 or 500 to the workers or to the owners of the shop and get myself done. But there was like rubber duckies at the front, like charity ducks, where
Mhm.
you donate money, and I'd put it all back in them donation boxes. And so even as a teenager, when I was doing bad, and as an adult, I always tried, a bit like when I bring this up, people will say a bit like Robin Hood, right? Steal
Yeah.
from the rich, give to the poor. So I do believe that I've always tried. Um,
Yeah, we have
yeah,
some sort of moral compass guiding you. You're not
yeah,
just out there causing pain and suffering for no reason. It's like you're out there trying to survive and trying to get by and then yeah, take what you can and then repay it back later. So
yeah.
with the because I did see so you ended up in foster care with pedophiles, is that right?
Yeah, so there was sometimes on these podcasts it sounds like I just live with pedophiles. I don't like to leave out I don't like to leave out the good families. There was some
Right.
very, very good families that were very influential. I had, people look at me and think, fuck, I just didn't have any childhood at all. I have some great memories as a child with some very good families who I like to talk about and not leave them out. But yeah, I did end up with a like a pedophile. I call them the pedophile family. They were It was an old guy, like an older guy, and his wife. She was only young. She was like 21, and he was in his 50s. And they weren't. This family themselves weren't so much pedophiles themselves. Like they didn't actually do anything to, well, not that I know of. They didn't do anything to me directly. I used to sleep in the bed with them. Like they'd be naked. They wouldn't uh
Right.
touch me themselves, but they would make us kids. There was other foster kids that also had their own daughter, and they would make us make videos, and they're obviously making money off these videos. They all got done. They got done for this, but they used to make us make videos, but they were storylines like me and like their daughter or one of the girls would get married, and they would film us getting married, and then would have to take our clothes off. So they would make us do stuff to each other. So
Right.
it's pedophilia in that sense. Um, but themselves. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I ended up with them. I was there for about 6 months. I was the oldest kid there. Um, I was the oldest kid, and I ran away when I was about 10 years old. After being there for 6 months, I ran away, and I always felt like a coward for running because I was
Right.
the oldest kid, and I felt quite protective of the other kids, especially like I remember there was a girl a couple of years younger than me. I was real close with her, and I'd sleep with her most nights. And anyway, I ran away, and obviously I always felt like a coward. And then about a year later, after staying with different homes again, after staying with my sister and her boyfriend and other homes, I ended up with another pedophile, but this guy was an actual pedophile.
Yeah.
Um, he was a basketball coach. And then while I was staying with him, this is very close around high school. I was about to start high school. Um, he was a proper pedophile. And then that family I just told you about, they got done. So it was all over the news, them getting done. All the videos must have got found. Um, and that happened at the same time as this guy being an actual pedophile. This was a basketball coach that I looked up to.
Right.
Basketball's my first love, like my first sport I loved,
Yeah.
for fighting. And obviously I looked up to this guy. He was a very high up basketball coach too. Like we've got the Perth Wildcats here, which is like your main team, like your NBL, like your most famous team or whatever you want to call it in
Yeah.
the state. And he was like a development coach for that. So he was also like he could get me into the Wildcat games and things like that.
Right.
So he was someone I really looked up to. Anyway, and then so I sort of looped out when I found out about the pedophile family getting done, and then the basketball coach being a pedophile himself. Like how I was thinking, how the fuck did I end up, with another in
Yeah.
another,
Yeah.
So I looped out, and I remember I bashed, like I just started smashing everything up, and I smashed him as much as I could, and I ran away from there. And then it feels like overnight, but I can't remember the time frame, but it feels like very soon after that I started high school from my memory. And
Yeah.
that's where I became this, like I remember being in high school, I went from being like a very like no having no friends, being like a very quiet, weird kid to being very popular because I became a really good athlete as well. So
Right.
from I was always like an average athlete in primary school. Then the start of high school, my body must have changed. But I became like a freak athlete. Like I was the fastest runner, like a very, very good athlete. And also I'd fight everyone. So I automatically became popular and I went to a brand new school because I was changing schools a lot. But I went to a brand new high school, so no one knew, who I
Yeah.
was or that I had
Yeah.
no
Yeah. So
friends
you
and
get to
stuff.
rewrite your own
But I
identity
became
again.
popular overnight, became this kid that would fight anyone overnight. I created this new identity, I guess, but it's sort of, I've grown from that and now I don't know any different than that teenager. I don't remember that boy really so much anymore.
Right. Yeah, I think we do go through those big identity changes, especially high schools around that time. Like I kind of did a similar thing. I was in elementary school, I was a very nice kid. I was like very, very friendly and helpful. And I actually won the citizenship award, which was like for being the nicest kid in the school. And then I got to high school and I learned pretty quick, like if you're the nicest kid, you're the easiest to get picked on. And I also had a lisp, like I don't know, you probably tell I still have a bit of a lisp going on. And so I had a lisp and I was really nice. And then everyone, like people just started bullying me. But then I was a pretty big guy. I was a hockey player, and I'm like, I'm 6'1", 200 plus pounds. And then I was like, you know what? I don't care if these kids like me, they're gonna respect me. And then I just started, like what you're saying, just fighting and becoming a bully. And then I was like, all right, this kind of worked. And I carried that into my young adulthood. And then I started to realize that I was just kind of being a jerk to people now. Like now I'm just being this aggressive, like, ah. And I always say one of my favorite things about being an adult now is like I get to pick and choose who's in my life. Like when you're a teenager, you don't. Like you have to go to school, you have to see these people every day, you have to deal with these people, these bullies or these jerks or mean people. As whereas an adult, now I can choose. So I just learned like rather than be mean and be aggressive to like keep people away as a safety net, I'm like just be nice to everyone. And if someone's a jerk, like just don't hang out with them? So it's like
Yeah.
like if you were mean to me, I'd just like, you know what, I don't want to talk to Matt. I'm out of here. Like. But it's like so you kind of get to pick and choose now. And so it's helped me a lot where I've started becoming back to that child I was before, where you're just like a nice, fun, playful kid.
Well, it's good now these days you could sort of be a nice person and not get picked on for it. Like usually these days it's the correct way and people starting to respect that more. Like times have changed a bit like that.
Yeah.
Um I don't think I was ever really a bully in high school because I got bullied so much in primary school. I was sort of like if I seen anyone get bullied, I'd stand up for them, and all my fights that I'd get into, like I'd always justify it, in my head. Like if a kid was getting picked on, I'd always stand in. I'd actually get real upset about it if I seen other people get picked on and things like that. Once again, it's probably from what happened as in primary school.
Of course.
So, but yeah, it's funny, like you said before, like now I've come to a point in my life where like I seen this quote that Keanu Reeves said, and he said, I've come to a point in my life when people were like 1+1 is 3, for example. Instead of being like, no, it's 2, he's like, yeah, it is 3, absolutely. And goes, yeah, and then just walks away.
Yeah.
He said, I've come to a point in my life where I can't be bothered arguing, like let the peanuts sink like peanuts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm the same now. Like I don't argue anymore or anything. Like if people are like 1+1 is 3, I'm like, yeah, absolutely it is. And then so I'm that's sort of picking and choosing, and also like yeah, I'm very yeah, I don't really have I try and keep anyone like negative. I don't even talk about negative people. So like I won't even bring it up in discussion. I try and be very positive and influential. I've learned that from now, like as I'm getting bigger, there's a lot more trolls, for example, and
Right.
and I don't even get upset at the trolls. I actually genuinely just start wishing the best for them. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to show every man that anything is possible. So I say that, like even when I get trolled, I say even the trolls, I believe anything's possible for them,
Yeah.
even though they're talking bad. I just ignore it all now,
Well,
and I try and like sort of what you said, like I try and keep anything positive, people positive in my life, you know?
yeah. Well, it's like I don't know if you're a man of faith, but that's like Matthew 5:44, where he's like, love your neighbor and love your enemy. So it's like,
Yeah, I
great.
am. I do believe in God.
Yeah.
I 99% believe in God because I'm such a logical person. Unless I actually physically see something, it's very hard for me to 100% believe. But I believe that God, that I believe the God theory is definitely the most, it makes the most sense. I do definitely believe, especially after this year.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I really believed in God. I was a very spiritual kid, and then as life's gotten on, it's gotten harder and harder. But I still do believe. I'm just like I can never say 100%. I'd love to say 100%, and hopefully I'll get there.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. It's amazing. So let's talk about some of your fighting here now. We'll get you on. So, a very notable fight you had with was like Sugar Shane Mosley.
Yeah,
So, dude, what was that like? Like to just be lining
amazing.
up against a legend like that.
Amazing. It was a very emotional fight. It's the only fight I've had where I can't actually remember the actual fight because it was so overwhelming and emotional. I remember walking out and I was like tearing up. There was a lot of emotions behind it because of my childhood once again. As you know, you've been to West Australia. It's a very isolated place. We don't get too many celebrities here. And Shane Mosley, when I was when I was younger. He came to Perth because I think he had a girlfriend over here or something, and he was at the gym and I think he was like close to fighting Floyd Mayweather around that, so he was obviously like already a very established fighter, very
Yeah,
big
very.
name, he's already famous.
Yeah.
Everyone knew. I mean, I remember when he came to the gym, he had like his own security team there and everything. So I was just hanging around the ring because he must have booked in sparring with someone like another professional. And I was just a floater. Hadn't had any fights yet or nothing. I was just a kid. And he could see me hanging around, hanging around, just staring at him. And he kind of looked at me and said, "Come on then, You didn't have to do that." I jumped in the ring and I had to play around with him and he played around with me.
Oh man.
I think he did maybe a round with me or something like that. And he was just
Yeah.
trying to show me and help me and guide me. And he actually remembered it when we caught up, 20 years later.
Yeah.
Um, he remembered me and yeah, anyway, so back then, but growing up tough and that, like meeting him and all that. I remember honestly, when I met him as a kid, I remember looking at him and I felt something.
Yeah.
Like once again, like we just said before, I don't usually believe in stuff. I'm not one of them people that believe in all that hippie stuff, if that's what we're going to call it. But this year's made me more of a believer because I felt something then. And then when all this went down, like there was something happening at this show. Like this was what, 6 months ago now. And I knew I was going to fight him for whatever reason. And obviously it was from that feeling from back then. This was all destiny. So all this was meant to be like, it was always meant to happen. I was always meant to fight him. And he also, I think he felt something too. Like before we're about to face off, for example, and like he knows I never had like a father role model thing and things like that. So I remember we were about to face off, and so we're supposed to look at each other, want to kill each other, right? And I didn't have my jacket. They gave me like a jacket, like I had to wear it, like
Yeah. For like a
been a sponsor or something. They made us
sponsor.
wear
Yeah.
these jackets, and I'm a very awkward person. I didn't put it on properly, and it was all messy in that. And as we were about to walk out, he could see that, and he sort of grabbed me and he like fixed it all for me and said, "It's all good, brother. Just be, you're all right." So you're
Yeah.
sort of like trying to role model me even then, like just before we're about to supposed to kill each other, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So he knew. I think he knew it was an emotional fight for me. Like I would have fought. I would fight anyone. I would have loved to have fought Shane when he was in his prime. The problem is when he was in his prime, I would have been like, a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
But yeah, it happened when it happened. He looked great, like he was sparring Devin Haney and everyone was saying how great he looked and how great he was and all that. So yeah.
And that's at that fight took place at the historic O2 Arena. Is that right? In London?
Yeah, in London, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, what was that like just being in that arena?
I've actually fought in a massive arena in Thailand. In front of I fought a Thai legend.
Yeah.
There's another legend that I fought that people forget. They don't because they don't know so much about him. But he was a two-time WBC world champion. He was one of the first to he he got out of prison early. In Thailand, you can get out of prison if you become a world champion, and he was
Okay.
like the first to do that.
Oh,
So he got out
really?
of jail and becoming a world champion, yeah, and he's very famous. Like he's in movies there and everything because of all. He's had 500 fights. He had about 100 professional boxing fights. He was like 99 wins, bro, and like
Wow.
four losses or something, like one win away from 100. And so when I fought him at like Lupini, which is like a historic stadium in Thailand,
Yeah.
and there was like thousands and thousands of fucking Thais like yelling and screaming and like literally throwing shit in the ring, man, while we were fighting, bro. Throwing shit at me, bro. Like it was crazy. So I've been in a big fight, big atmosphere situation. People thought that London was the first. It wasn't. The Thai fight was actually probably bigger and probably more people, but it was just more crazy.
Yeah.
London is obviously London. It's more, it was more like professional and it looked better and all that. But yeah, and in all honesty, in London, bro, there was probably half the fans there were probably supporting me. It was probably half and half, half for Shane, half for me. In
Yeah.
Thailand, it was like everyone just wanted to kill me, man. Everyone was yelling at me, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, so like, yeah. And in Thailand, the guy that I fought, his father was like the head of the commission there and they were the judges and everything, bro. It was a crazy situation.
What do you find
For
when
a
you're
world
going
title as well.
when you're going into a fight like that? Like, do you have like pre-fight conferences, like press conference or anything with those guys? Like, do you build a relationship with the person you're fighting?
You mean in Thailand or with Shane
Yeah.
Mosley? Yeah,
Uh,
in Thailand, nah, no press conference. It's just like you just catch up at this big weigh-in place, and bro, the weigh-ins were dodgy as bro. I had to agree. He hadn't made weight, so I had to agree to a fake weight. So
yeah.
like, so they weighed us in the morning. So it was supposed to be. It was for a world title, by the way. So it was supposed to be 79.38, and their commission and everything were like he can't get under 83 or whatever it was. So I had to agree to him being 83 for a world title. I was the fight was
That's
off.
a big
So
difference too,
so
dude.
we had
Like,
to meet in the morning and they like played with the scales and everything. Played with it too much to where he got to like 73 kilos instead, like went 10 kilos down. And the promoter had to put his foot on the scales while he was on it, while
yeah.
the WBF commission would what bro, that's Thailand, bro. And people would always go, oh, it's Thailand, it's Thailand. Even the fight, bro, like I won it, I broke my hand, a guy called Johnny Tello. I broke my hand sparring with him a week earlier. I fought. Everyone always complains about my boxing, obviously because I train myself, so I look different. But this is what helps me, and I wanted to show the world I could because he's meant to be one of the best boxers that age has ever had, right?
Right.
So I wanted to outbox him because I knew I had a broken hand, and I did. I beat him every single round. Like if you watch the fight,
Yeah.
and and then they said that he won the fight. So it was like the most. But a lot of people protested that they've turned the fight around and which they haven't honored yet. But anyway, it's just Thailand, man. It was heaps of crazy stuff, but
What's
it's part
that
of my story.
what's that like being like when it goes to the judges' scorecards like that and you end up taking a loss when you feel or you know that it shouldn't have been that way? How do
Oh,
you
it's
move?
happened to me a couple times now. So like the last time I embraced it, I was like, this is gonna be the best thing for my career, which it ended up being the best thing for my career. And the very first time it really hurt. So the very first time it was the worst feeling in the world. I was a 15-0 fighter. I was undefeated. I
Right.
traveled to another country on my own, and I really believed I was going to knock him out. And that was the problem was I got told by all the Thai people, by the people I was training with, that you have to knock him out. If you don't, you're not going to win this fight. So I
Right.
knew that. But I broke my hand, and I still thought, no, I'm just going to do a mark. Like I'm going to outbox him every round. And which I did. And yeah, it was the worst feeling in the world because I was a 15-0 fighter. I worked so hard. I've done everything the hard way. I've traveled on my own. I've got no manager. I haven't really had a team. I've got friends that have come and cornered me and backed me, but I haven't had a team. I've had a different trainer in my corner every time, whoever's in Thailand or whatever country I'm in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've done everything the hard way. So it's sort of my own fault. Like I create my own chaos and then I complain about it after. But
Don't we
but
all?
it did hurt. It really hurt that first. I really fought it. A lot of people got behind it. This is probably the first fight that gave me. This is sort of what sort of started me crossing over to the celebrity boxing scene, I guess, because a lot of people talked about this fight. A lot of people got behind me. Everyone protested it, stuck up for me, which was nice. But yeah, it was a shit feeling. We got it overturned to a no contest. These other judges, they all judged it. The WBF got it overturned, but the Tyre Commission haven't honoured it. So the Tyre Commission have just sat on it, and they don't have to put it forward. They can just sit on it. So on my box record still has me as with a loss, which pisses me off, obviously.
Right.
Uh, I rematched him in Turkey, which I shouldn't have done. I did that because I was supposed to fight for a WBC silver title now against like the number one fighter from Africa, and the Turkish promoter, he was another dodgy guy, where I lost a lot of money doing this, and I met him in Thailand, and a day before the fight, um, they were like, "Oh, the guy from the number one fighter can't come over now," and he goes, "What about rematching Ciramong Cole, like Khan, the guy that the Thai guy I'm talking about now?" And I was like, well, at first I was like, no, I'm not doing that after I got robbed and they haven't fixed it, and
Right.
then I ended up agreeing. It wasn't for WBC Silver anymore either because he wasn't eligible, but I was. It was for like another shitty world title, which once again, when I fought for these world titles, I didn't know they were shitty world titles. I thought that world title was a world title. I didn't understand the whole WBC, WBO.
Yeah.
These are just so I understand the big four, and now there's the other four, which are the shitty ones. I didn't understand the four shitty ones. I just thought they were all the same.
Right.
So it was a WBF world title that we fought for in Thailand, and now I got offered a WBO world title against Ciramong. So I ended up agreeing to it on the condition that they honoured that review. So
Right.
not even change that loss into a win, which it should have been, just to honour the review of a no contest. And they agreed to that. I've got it in text messages. I had it in writing that they'll agree to it. I ended up rematching him. I beat him every round again. This time the judges were on my side, unanimous decision, and but they still haven't honoured the fight thing, so it's still sitting there. The Tiger Commission can just sit on it for the next 10 years if they want. So
Yeah, that's
anyway, they've still
frustrating.
got me as a loss there, which pisses me off because I'll have on my profile undefeated fighter because I know that I am.
Right.
Uh, and people will be like, mate, this guy's a blah blah blah. They don't understand like the whole thing, but anyway, because I believe that I've never lost a fight because I haven't, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's frustrating, especially, yeah, like good luck trying to get that passed through, right? Like there's nothing you
It's
could
happened a
do.
couple times since then too. Like the James, I don't know if you've seen the James DeGale fight. You're probably going to get to that.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was gonna talk about. Yeah, but yeah, this is perfect. Go into it. So that was bare knuckle, is that right?
Yeah, so I did that because it was James DeGale. Like I want to fight the best in the world in boxing. I was a 15-0 fighter. Like I said, I was happy to do it the hard way and go to another 15 countries and fight them and become a 30-0 fighter and then that way hopefully get a shot at the best fighter in the world. But probably get robbed in a few more countries. But the celebrity boxing, if you want to call it that, like the Shane Mosley and Darren Till and Tommy Fury and all that, that happened by accident. And it just happened this year. I've been doing it all year. I went to England and I was supposed to fight Darren Till. We became good friends. Well, I ended up training with him for a few months and sparring everyone, and then I fought Shane Mosley, obviously, and I was supposed to fight. There was talks about me fighting Tommy Fury earlier on, and there was talks about me on the being on the Misfits now against oh heaps of names, bro. They're just all year it's been like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
James DeGale happened. Obviously, James DeGale is one of England's best fighters. He's a Olympic gold medalist, two-time world champion. He's a big name. So once again, I thought, okay, I'll fight James DeGale. That's my ticket there now. It's always I'm looking for a ticket to fight the best in the world. Like with Tommy Fury now, I'm only fighting him because I want to fight the best in the world.
Right.
So that's what James DeGale was. I took it straight away. I was like, yep. I didn't actually think he would do it. He did in the end. He wanted to box me. He wanted to do boxing with me on Misfits. He
Yeah.
was hoping to get that, but the bare knuckle happened.
Yeah, how does that happen?
They just asked me, man. I've been friends with Connor most of the year as well. That's another story. I've been in Ireland a lot of the year, training with his trainers and become friends with him. This bare knuckle thing, everyone assumes it has something to do with me being friends with Connor. It had nothing to do with it. This happened separately um, to our friendship. I was supposed to be a main event in Perth, where I'm from, in
Right.
bare knuckle against Aaron Chalmers.
Yeah.
That didn't happen because a
And
bunch
where
of things.
would they do that at the RAC? Where would they?
They were doing it at the RSC, but it didn't happen because the government got involved. They wouldn't allow it. Bare knuckle will never be
They
allowed
couldn't.
in West Australia. I wouldn't have thought. But the guy that was organising, his best mate's Aaron Chalmers. He's a very big matchmaker. Like he's good friends with Jake Paul, for example.
Hmm.
He's very respected. There's about 10,000 people trying to be matchmakers in England, but he's one of the ones that you can actually listen to and respect. He's a pretty good man of his word.
Yeah.
I became close with him over the Aaron Chalmers stuff, and then when James DeGale, no one really wanted to fight James DeGale, being Olympic gold medalist. Like, he's a very risky fight for anyone.
Yeah.
But Kay knew me, and he knew I'd fight anyone. So he asked me, "You want to be main event against James DeGale? You just beat Shane Mosey. It makes sense." And my name as an underdog is sort of getting pretty like bigger in England. A lot of people know who I am now, getting behind me there as well, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, I ended up fighting James DeGale.
Yeah. And how'd it go?
Good man. Like, it was honestly, even though I won the fight, it was the worst I've ever fought. So I always back myself. If you know my storyline, it's all about backing yourself. As you can imagine, I have to back myself 100%, and I truly believed in my boxing ability against this guy. I believed I'd beat him, but all the people around me were like, people that don't even know me or watch me spar or really train me, so they didn't really have a right to say anything. Were saying things like, you need to grab him, you need to rough him up, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to really bare knuckle him. And I was like,
Right.
nah, in my mind, up until the night before the fight, I was like, I can outbox this guy and beat him. And I really believed in myself. And then people, for the first time ever, I let them get inside my head. And
Right.
not James DeGale got inside my head. I got inside his head. I really messed him up. But other people got inside my head. The people that were supposed to be closest to me, the people that really knew me were like, bro, you can outbox him, the people that are closest to me, the one
Right.
or two people. But I let all the other outside noise. There was too many people, man, around me. Too many people. And I mean, like my shorts were on backwards that fight because I only concert that's because I had all these people around me, but a lot of them weren't there for my best interest, bro. So whoever put my short, they didn't really care. They just wanted to be there to get pictures with Connor and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Um, and so my shorts went on backwards and things like that. Like it was that messy.
Oh
Anyway,
God.
I went out there. Still fought my worst, but still did what I had to win.
Yeah.
Um, I went in straight away, grabbed him, and that when I roughed him up and went inside, I actually gave him opportunities because the ref was also holding me and letting him have free shots at my face. Um, I made it more even, but when I stayed at my range, he didn't touch me. I outboxed him, except for when he threw that one punch and grabbed me.
Yeah.
He never touched me from outside. All my marks and everything were from when the referee was holding me and letting James hit me three
Yeah.
times. And every time that we were holding each other, and the ref should have let it go because that's what bare knuckle is. Every other fight he lets it go, but with me, every time I had an opportunity to let go on James, the ref would just grab me and hold me and stop me. But every time I was held, he was allowed to have three or four free shots at me. The the
Yeah.
the, the fight was 100% catered around him. But I hit him in the stats. I hit him 90 to 45 times. I dropped him twice. So when I actually boxed him, I was dropping him.
Yeah.
And every time I dropped him, the referee would jump in and stop it and just wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
I reckon if I knocked him clean out, I still would have lost the fight. I mean, I got disqualified. And yeah, and there's a headbutt incident. People don't realize they don't see everything. Like he's admitted this after the fight because the same manager guy that we're mates with, I'm talking to you about,
Hmm.
who's doing the Tommy Fury fight now.
Yeah.
He was also James, the manager. James admitted to him that he was eye gouging me. He's like, yeah, man, like Matty came in rough. I wasn't ready for that. He's a veteran, bro. Like he's smart. And you know what? I don't mind that he did that. Like fair play to him. But that's the reason why my head reacted the way it did. I just got seen for it. So I never actually wanted to headbutt him. If I
Right.
wanted to headbutt him, I would have grabbed his head and headbutted him. Like I had
Yeah.
the opportunity to. You
Right.
can anyone that watches it can clearly see that I fully missed him on purpose. But
Yeah.
his hand was in my eye, and I was just getting his hand out. I was like, "Get your fucking fingers out my eye." That's
Yeah.
what happened. And it looked shit, and it was shit. But it wasn't like I never touched him with my head. I didn't headbutt him. People were going on about this headbutt. I never headbutted him.
We'll set the record straight right now.
Yeah, he eye gouged me, man, like another 5 times after that. You can see I've got footage which I put on my Instagram in slow motion of him. It was worse, way worse than the Tom Aspinall eye gouge, way worse. Like his whole hand was down my eye, and he was like playing with my eye, like
Oh,
playing with
gross.
it. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. Good on him for getting away with it, man. Like if you can get away with things and do what you got to do to win, I understand all that. I actually don't care or hold anything against him for doing that. Like I'm fine with it. It's just annoys me that I'm the one that everyone talks about because I'm the
Right.
one getting seen reacting to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, you getting the retaliation or whatever, and not the actual cause of the
Well,
incident.
people are blaming that for the loss of the fight, but realistically, that's only 2 points. I still won every single round. You can't. People complain about fights after fights from the stats, but usually the stats there's 10 punches in it, or it's a close fight. This wasn't close. The stats, and you can if you watch the fight back, you can clearly see I hit him twice as many times. In bare knuckle, it's judged differently. It's meant to be judged differently to boxing. First of all, I'm the one coming forward the whole fight. You can see he's running. He doesn't want to be there the whole fight. So
Right.
that's a big thing in bare knuckle. Who's the more aggressor? Because if you're more aggressive in a bare knuckle situation, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then who lands more shots? And they don't have to be clean shots like in boxing. It can be when you're inside doing the little. That's why they're all doing that because you get points for that.
Right.
So, so I hit him. You can't hit someone twice as many times in a fight. That means I must have won every round. You know, you can't say I hit him 45 more times in one round. That's obviously
Right.
over them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
90 to 45 in a 10-minute fight is a landslide, like twice as many times. We're not talking like 5 or 10 more hits.
Yeah.
We're talking twice as many times in a 10-minute fight. That's too like overwhelming. It's just a landslide. Like it's too,
Yeah,
you know,
totally. No, that makes
yeah,
complete
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if you even if you yeah, try to say like a really
And the ref said
lopsided
that,
round.
and the ref said somehow he won every round. You know what I mean? Like the scorecard was just fucking
Just
insane.
cooked, hey? Well,
Even
that's
Connor was like, he was yelling at the ref after the fight. He was like, "Next time I'll fucking ref the fight, and you can fuck off." But
how did you get hooked up with Connie?
so you know how earlier I was like, I'm starting to be more of a believer because of this year. It was a freak accident. So my mother, I didn't grow up with, as you know, so much, but she's from Ireland. She's from Crumlin, which is where Connor and all that are from, where the gym is. I didn't know that she's from Crumlin. I just knew she was from Ireland, the green place. I didn't know anything about um, the different areas, how big it was. I didn't know what Crumlin was. I knew nothing about Ireland. I wasn't supposed to go to Ireland this year. I was supposed to go to England at the beginning of the year, but for circumstances, I had to cross over through Ireland by accident, and I was only there for a night. And when I was there, it was an Irish taxi driver. He picked us up, and my mate I was with wanted to go. I can't remember where now, but in the city, and we started talking boxing somehow by accident. And the guy's like, "Mate, if you're boxing, you have to go to the Forge, which is Connor's pub, because there's a lot of boxing people there and that." And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" You know. And I
Yeah.
went there. And I teed up with the coach, and we just met. And someone knew me there. At first, we once again when we got there, we couldn't even get in because it's hard to get into. You can't just get into Connor's pub, especially it was like a Friday or Saturday night, so you need. Luckily, so we almost got not let in, and then someone recognized me there at the front, and I wasn't even like, this was just like I wasn't a big
Yeah.
um, like a name at that stage, and that was lucky that he recognized me and then got me in the back, and then I met everyone and the coach, and then it just started. And when I went to the gym the next day before I left Ireland to go to England, and at the gym I had a family member there, or someone with the same last name, and then so I ended up meeting. I've gone back since several times, so now I go back there. That's like my gym that I go to now and train at and stuff, and I do my training there before I fight in England or whatever. And since I've been back there, like I've reunited with family that didn't even know I exist. And I went and seen. I got a nan over there who's literally she had pictures of my mum. She looked after my mum till my mum was like 12 years old. She had pictures of her like as a 12-year-old. She took her to England. I think my mum was in England till she was maybe 16, and then she come to Australia. So like I didn't know any of this stuff. They didn't know about me, and now there's like 100 family members over there that all follow me, and they
Yeah.
come and see me, and I see them, and so I didn't even go there because I knew my mother was from there. Like it was just a freak accident that I ended up at Crumlin, where my mother's from, where her family all live, and you know what I mean. So this is
Yeah.
just it was all meant to be. So like, and also when I'm in Ireland, I also feel like I can feel like I've got a bit of home there, obviously because my mother's from there. So I've always had to try to work out, who I am as a person, as a fighter. I'm pretty aware of who I am as a fighter today. But yeah, so all these things sort of are starting to complete me a bit more. And this year, like that's not heaps more stuff's happened, but that obviously ended up teaming me up with Connor, and that's how we know each other, and he's obviously trying to support me in the ways he can.
Yeah,
But he hasn't had anything to do with the BKFC. He hasn't got me the fight. We are supposed to fight Billy Joe Saunders on BKFC. It had nothing to do with him. People assume that, it's because of my friendship with him, but it's not. Like I do all my stuff on my own. I sort it all out myself.
right.
I wouldn't ask for a favor in that way because it's not who I am. I do everything on my own, and he supports me like maybe on media and things like that, which is great. He's a good person, like to me anyway, and supports me like in them ways, but not in I don't ask him for any favors in the fight world or nothing like that. Like my
Right.
Tommy Fruit fight, I'm sure he'll be there, like because his coaches will be there in my corner, so he'll probably corner me or at least commentate on it. That stuff like that, but not, hey man, can you help me get this fight or anything like that, or can I have some money or so. I would never. He doesn't help me any way to do my career. I've done it all myself.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing, man. That's so cool. That's the same route I've taken with comedy, dude. Like I'm fully independent. I have my own production company. So I do just rent venues and then I just put on shows and perform and I hope I sell more tickets than it costs to put on the show. But that's awesome, dude. Well, before we get out of here real quick, so the Tommy Fury looks like you're trying to line that up for your next fight here.
Well, we spoke to John probably a couple of weeks. What's happened is that same guy, that K guy, he's a good friend. He's done. I think the Furies won't. I think they've done a few fights with him, and he's a trusted person with their family. He didn't. He was looking at fighting Jake Paul. It
Right.
didn't happen, and Kay knows about me and he likes me, so he planted the seed in their head already about me. And then when the Jake Paul thing didn't happen, they go, all right, what about Matty then? And then Kay rang me a couple of weeks ago, put me on the phone to John, who does everything. We try to do it in Australia, but John can't get to Australia.
Yeah.
And I said, what if, we put him on the big screen? Because it'd be good for me to have a fight in Perth like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone will make more money. Um, but they were like, bro, bro, he just got offered 15 million to fight Jake Paul in America. We didn't go because John couldn't go. Why would we come to Australia? You know what I mean? When we just turned down 15 million, he
Right.
won't fight without John, which is fine, and that's fair enough. They're not really hard. People say they're hard and this and that. They haven't been hard people to deal with me. They're pretty straightforward. They just want what they want, and that's it. They don't, there's no messing.
Yeah.
They've been all right so far. Um, I can't see him not fighting. Like people are like, he's going to pull out. It doesn't seem that way so far from the conversations. Everything seems fine.
Yeah.
We just got to keep our end of the, we got to honor our part, which we're saying we can. So that's all there is to it, really. We're looking at. I just spoke to him last night. We're looking at the last week of March. Hopefully we can announce it. As I want to announce it tomorrow. Obviously, hopefully we can announce it in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
A few things have to line up. I think they'll be fine. It's funny because I sort of manifested this fight happening. I was talking about it a lot at the start of the year, and it's just funny, after Shane Mosley and the DeGale and all that. And maybe if I didn't get robbed in that DeGale fight like so badly, maybe this wouldn't be happening now. So once again, I feel like everything keeps happening for a reason. That time I lost, I got upset for about half a second. It was nothing like that fight in Asia. And I
Right.
got over it. I was like, you know what? This is gonna be the best thing that ever happened in my career. And it was like everyone, a lot of people talked about the headbutt, but more than the headbutt, millions of people talked about how I got robbed. I've got hundreds, that many messages from people saying, bro, we watched that fight, what happens bad. So I think there was a lot more talk about the robbery more than anything. And I think that's made me more of an underdog, and people were rooting for me more, I'm hoping anyway. So I think that's going to make this Tommy Fury fight a lot bigger. It looks like it's going to be it will probably, yeah, it will be in Manchester.
Yeah.
Uh, I can't see it being anywhere else unless someone turns around and says, we want to do it here.
Right.
Um, but it looks Manchester makes the most sense. And yeah, I've got a bit of support in Manchester too. I've trained a lot of gyms there. So yeah,
Dude, that's super exciting, man. Well, it's great, dude. You've had that's a very interesting story all the way from very beginning of your childhood and all that. Thanks for sharing that. And then, dude, your fighting career, it's so exciting to see this thing taking off and you're well on your way, dude. That's
yeah, I don't think people understand the whole reason, I talk about how I did all this, a lot of it myself. Like people don't realize, like I'm trying to show every man, every kid, like these kids that have been in prison or been abused or been in jail, or even a man that's 25 in prison right now. I was 30 when I got out of prison. People
yeah,
don't realize, like, I'll bring it up. I'll be like, I'm the first man to get out of prison at 30 and fight on the biggest platforms in the world. And I am. And people will be like, oh, what about Mike Tyson? Or they'll name a couple of people. They don't realize Mike Tyson got trained at 14, did all them things before he went into prison. You got Bernard Hopkins, you got these people who are great, who have done great things. I'm not taking anything away from what they've done, but it's a different story to mine. And I'm trying to show, man, that haven't been trained as kids or become world champions before they went to prison. Bernard, I think it was Bernard or one of the people that they named, they had a proper boxing team, like an amateur or even Olympic team that had come to the prison and trained him at 17 in prison. And then when he got out at 19 or 20, he became a world, he
right.
started his journey, trained, then became. So people don't realize what I'm trying to tell people is you can be in prison at 28, not had any boxing history, not had any history, and you can do the things I'm doing because I am the first man to be doing what he's doing, unless someone can name someone else. I haven't, all these names they keep throwing are ones I've just mentioned here. So I'm trying to show every man that this can be done. There could be someone sitting in their cell, 28-year-old right now, that watches this and goes, man, and that's the whole point is you don't, anything is humanly possible. Look at what I'm doing. And I literally train myself. People don't realize how what that means. Like
Right.
I'm going around sparring the best in the world, fighting the best in the world, and I'm beating them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not supposed to be possible.
Yeah.
And I'm defying odds. Like the traditional boxing trainers that you get, a lot of them don't like what they're seeing because you know what I mean? Like it's like that it's not supposed to be. But I'm trying to show man that anything is possible. So like I'm hoping to give them hope and know that they can all do the same because they can. I'm not like, I've got natural athletic ability. I've got that as well. That helps, of course it does. But anything is definitely possible. There's
Yeah.
probably plenty of people with the same sort of athletic ability that I had and power and whatever that can all do the same thing.
Yeah, dude, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful reason to fight, man. And I think you're doing it, dude. You're going to be inspiring, thousands of people to get out there and try and just like you said before, just be a little better every day, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the pod, Maddie. Where can people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you or want to know about upcoming fights or stay in touch with any of that?
It's mainly just my Instagram, man, which isn't run properly at all. Matty the Jedi Floyd. And then also I'm on Facebook. I don't know if it's Matty the Jedi Floyd or if it's just Matt Floyd. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But I'm on Facebook. And yeah, and I'm on other things too, but it's getting run like by other people. It's either Matt Floyd or Matty the Jedi Floyd.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, yeah, we'll stay in touch and I look forward to talking soon, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, brother.